Good afternoon. Welcome to the daily news analysis of the next IAS. Today is the 18th June 2025. The topics which we are going to discuss today are synthetic aperture radar, important from the GS3 scientific perspective, revised Green India mission, important from the GS3 environmental conservation perspective, Kerala High Court banning the use of single-use plastic, important from the GS3 environmental conservation perspective. Then Cotton Corporation of India buying 100 lakh bales of the cotton at MSP, important from agricultural produce marketing perspective. And then warmer nights and more humidity, important from GS3 disaster management perspective. So let's start with today's DNA. So the first is synthetic aperture radar. The backdrop of this particular synthetic aperture radar lies with the announcement by the NASA on June 12 that NASA ISRO mission, NISAR mission had arrived at ISRO spaceport in Sriharikota. So let's go into the detail of this particular news. Basically, what is synthetic aperture radar? This is a technology that captures high resolution images using microwave pulses instead of visible light. So in this synthetic aperture radar technology, high resolution images are captured using microwave pulses rather than using visible light. So what is the purpose? The purpose is to make sharp pictures even when it is dark and cloudy. This particular synthetic aperture radar works in day or night and under all weather conditions, whether it is a cloud or smoke or light rain. What is the working mechanism of the SAR? Basically, this particular synthetic aperture radar sends out the microwave signals and records the echoes that get bounced back from the surfaces. That surface can be of land, water or ice or buildings. So it uses microwave signals and records the echoes which are bounced back from the various surfaces. Signal processing software. Basically, this particular SAR has a signal processing software which convert these echoes into the detailed images that can be utilized. So this particular signal processing software is mounted on a small antenna that is being carried on a moving platform like satellite. As a result, each echo is recorded in a different position. So these different signals which are scattered over the period of time, these are being stitched together and they are particularly simulated into a much larger antenna, which results in the high resolution imaging. So this is basically the working mechanism of the synthetic aperture radar. So what are the basic advantages of this synthetic aperture radar? First and foremost, it operates 24/7 regardless of light or weather conditions or availability. Second, it can map wide areas in a single satellite overpass. Once the satellite is overpassed over any area, it can map wide areas. Third is regarding the detecting material differences. Whatever the satellite images are being echoed by different surfaces, particular material surfaces are being detected by the microwave reflection. Then tracks invisible changes that optical sensors cannot detect. So it has ability to track invisible changes which cannot be detected by the optical sensors. Now, what are the applications of this particular NASA ISRO NISAR mission? Basically, it will scan nearly all of the Earth's land as well as the ice surfaces every 12 days. It aims to provide extensive environmental monitoring data which can be used for various scientific purposes. About NISAR mission. Basically, this NISAR mission is a joint Earth observation satellite by NASA and ISRO, and it is aimed at studying Earth surface changes, natural hazards, climate patterns and ecosystem. It has basically aimed at studying Earth surface changes, natural hazards and climate patterns and ecosystems. It will map Earth's lands and ice every 12 days over a 3-year mission. So the longevity of this particular NISAR mission is about 3 years. Now let's go into the objectives of this particular NISAR mission. First, monitoring of the earth's changing ecosystems, that which has been changing because of multiple factors like global warming, climate change. Tracking dynamic land surfaces such as shifting terrains, tracking of dynamic land surfaces such as shifting terrains. Observe the ice masses to study the melting and movement. Because of the global warming, ice masses over the Antarctica as well as the Arctic are melting rapidly, and to observe the pattern of this melting ice is the one of the objective of NISAR mission. Providing data on biomass for understanding carbon storage. So, the one of the purpose or objective is to providing data on the biomass for understanding the carbon storage, which is important from the intended nationally determined contributions of the Paris Climate Accord. Then detecting and monitoring the natural hazards like earthquake, landslides. As we know already, 57% of the India's landmass is prone to the earthquake. So, detecting such natural hazards is one of the objective of the NISAR mission. Then support studies on sea level rise. Because of the global warming, there has been a consistent rise in the sea level, and to study this rise in the sea level is one of the objective of the NISAR mission. Then assessing the groundwater variations. Because of the climate change induced rainfall variations, increase in the frequency of extreme wet spells as well as the increase in the intensity and frequency of the droughts, there has been a significant alterations in the groundwater levels. So, studying these groundwater changes is one of the objective of this particular NISAR mission. Then enabling the wide range of scientific and environmental applications globally is one of the broader objective of the NASA's NISAR mission. Let's go into certain technical highlights or mission highlights. Basically, this is a kind of Earth observation satellite. It was earlier planned for launch in March 2024, but it was delayed because of certain technical reasons. The launch vehicle that is being used, that is likely to be used by the ISRO will be like GSLV Mach 2. Launch site Satish Dhawan Space Center, India. What are the orbital and technical specifications? The first, the orbit that it is going to use is like Sun synchronous low Earth orbit at the altitude of 747 km, and the payloads there on this particular NISAR missions will be LSAR, that is L band, which is 24 centimeter, and it is developed by NASA. SSAR, that is developed by ISRO. Practice question regarding this synthetic aperture radar. With reference to synthetic aperture radar, consider the following statements. Please solve the practice question. Now, next topic, center to focus on Aravalli and Western Ghats restoration. Basically, the backdrop of this particular news lies in the revised document stated that revised Green India mission. Recently, the document of this particular revised Green India mission has been released by our Environment Minister, and this revised document stated that micro ecosystem approach will be adopted to make interventions in the vulnerable landscape like Aravalli's Western Ghats, arid regions of the northwest India. So, let us go into this particular article is important from the perspective of GS3 environmental conservation as well as the various government initiatives to promote this environmental conservation. So, let us start. So, let us go into the basics. What is the Green India mission? Basically, this particular Green India mission or National Mission for Green India is one of the sub mission or one of the 8 core missions under India's National Action Plan for Climate Change. This particular Green India mission was launched in February 2014, and what were the objectives of this particular Green India mission? Protecting, restoring, enhancing the forest or tree cover, using both climate adaptation as well as the mitigation strategy to fight the climate change, increase in the forest and tree cover on 5 million hectares of the forest as well as the non-forest land, and improving the quality of forest cover on 5 million hectares of the land. So, first is to increase the forest cover and tree cover, and second is improving the quality of forest cover. So, these are the basic objectives of the Green India mission that was launched by government in February 2014. So, this particular Green India mission was having certain targets. The original targets were increasing the forest or tree cover on 5 million hectares and improving the forest quality over 5 million hectares. So, what was the progress of this particular Green India mission? It has led to the plantation on 11.22 million hectares land in India. So, let us go into the nationally determined contributions of India that has been committed in the Paris Climate Accord. So, one of the nationally determined contribution was creating additional sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons of CO2 equivalent of carbon sink, and for this India has adopted three-pronged approach. The first was regarding the restoration of open forest, tree plantation on the wastelands like railways, highways, agroforestry and degraded forest restoration. So, this particular NDC was nationally determined contribution was adopted under the Green India mission. So, let us go into the core part of our news, that is revised Green India mission highlights that is being planned between 2021 to 2030. So, who has released it? Our Environment Minister Sri Bhupendra Yadav has released it on World Day to Combat Desertification and Drought. So, what are the focus areas of this revised Green India mission? First is regarding the restoration of vulnerable landscape like Aravalli, Western Ghats, Indian Himalayan region, mangroves and arid regions of northwest India. Second, what is the adoption of the micro ecosystem approach in targeted and region specific manner. So, what is the micro ecosystem? Basically, it is a compact multi-species system that represents a portion of the biotic community and abiotic elements of the larger ecosystem. So, it adopts micro ecosystem approach to restoration of the vulnerable landscape. So, what are the targets of India in case of this particular revised Green India mission? Target is achieve the carbon sink of 3.39 billion tons through combination of all restoration activities, and for this increase in the forest and tree cover of 24.7 million hectares is being needed. So, this is the particular target under which 3.39 billion tons of carbon sequestration potential is aspired to be created, and for this increase in the forest and tree cover of 24.7 million hectares is needed. So, what is the next approach is about restoration of the vulnerable landscape. Basically, for restoration of the vulnerable landscape like Aravallis or Western Ghats, it is trying to adopt, this document suggests adopting regionally conducive best practices for holistic landscape management, including the plantation of the native species and soil and moisture conservation to achieve the land degradation neutrality. So, basically this particular document gives restoration of the vulnerable landscape approach in different areas of the India. Let us start with the Aravalli mountain range. Aravalli mountain range, which is around 700 km in length, and it has spanned from Gujarat to the Delhi. It for this Aravalli mountain range, it proposes implementation of the Aravalli Green Wall project, which is a 5 km wide green buffer belt to block the desert winds, recharge the groundwater and prevent desertification. Second, with respect to the Western Ghats, which have spanned from Gujarat to the Tamil Nadu, it suggests restoration and protection of this global biodiversity hotspot. It aims to address the deforestation, illegal mining and pollution. It suggests enhancing water resources, biodiversity conservation and reduce the human-animal conflict. So, this is about the Western Ghats. Now, let us go into the suggestions for the Himalayan region. Basically, it suggests restoring the degraded slopes by planting of native species. It also suggests supporting sea buckthorn plantation in Himachal Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir, Uttarakhand and Sikkim. It suggests preventing soil erosion and landslides with the help of this plantation of the native species and improving the rainwater harvesting. For this, it suggests utilization of gully plugging or contour trenching for the rainwater harvesting. In case of northeastern states, It suggests that need to address the shifting or zoom cultivation using locally adapted and respectful technologies. It also suggests utilizing bamboo forest restoration in northeast basically. In case of arid regions of northwest India, it suggests controlling desertification and restoration of the degraded land. For this, the measures include construction of the windbreak plantations, regulated grazing in rural areas, soil and water conservation, rainwater harvesting and introduction of hardy native grasses to prevent the extension of the desert in the mainland. So, for the coastal, riverine and delta regions, it suggests restoration of the lost mangrove ecosystem, and also it focuses on enhancing the biodiversity and coastal protection against cyclones, tsunamis and erosion. Also, it suggests supporting of marine life habitats. In case of central India, it suggests restoration of bamboo forest to stabilize the steep slopes, also reduce the erosion and going for carbon sequestration. So, what are the current challenges for these particular revised Green India mission targets? In case of India, as per the Forest Survey of India data, forest cover change, net forest cover is increase in between 2021 to 2023 was just 156 square kilometer. Then losses, there has been a consistent decline in the old growth high quality forest in Western Ghats, and also there is a decline in the proportion of the mangroves in coastal areas. So, this is the practice question. Which of the following best describe the aim of Green India mission of the government India? Please solve this MCQ. Now, let us go into the next article. Kerala High Court banning the use of single-use plastic. This particular article is important from GS3 environmental pollution and degradation perspective. Recently, Kerala High Court expressed concern over irresponsible disposal of the plastic waste in the state as well as its environmental impact. So, what does the Kerala High Court's order on the plastic waste suggest? Basically, this particular order has banned single-use plastic items in hilly areas of the state, weddings and public functions, eateries and government functions. This order will be effective from October 2, that is on the occasion of Gandhi Jayanti. What are the items banned in the this particular order? Plastic water bottles less than 5 liter capacity, soft drink bottles less than 2 liter capacity, food container, plates, cups, straws, etc. And what are the environmental concerns expressed by Honorable High Court while banning the single-use plastic in the Kerala? Irresponsible plastic disposal poses serious threat to the life forms, and special emphasis is being needed on protecting the water bodies from the plastic dumping in the state. So, High Court gave certain directives to the state government regarding this ban of single-use plastic and alternative measures needed to compensate for the ban, like setting up of the kiosk providing safe drinking water at tourist spots or wedding and events. It also suggests or encourages the use of glass or stainless steel bottles in the tourist areas. Then taking measures to prevent dumping of plastic in the single-use plastic in the water bodies, raising awareness about the harmful effects of the single-use plastics. So, these are the certain directives given by Kerala High Court to the state government. So, let us go into certain basics of the this particular single-use plastics. Basically, single-use plastics are the products designed for one-time use before being discarded or recycled, such as plastic bags, straws, bottles or food packaging. They make up about half of the all plastic consumption in entire world. Annually, approximately 380 million tons of plastic is generated all over the world, nearly half of which is intended for the single use. So, this is about the single use plastic. Now, what are the types of plastic? We must go into this. The first is about polyethylene terephthalate. This is used in food and beverage packaging due to its barrier properties against the oxygen and carbon dioxide. So, first is about PET, that is polyethylene terephthalate. Second is about polyvinyl chloride. Basically, it exists in the rigid and flexible forms, and it used in the construction packaging, cables and imitation leather. So, it has applications in construction sector, packaging sectors or cables. Now, third is about the polyethylene. Basically, it comes in various densities like low, medium, high, ultra high, and it used in bags, bottles, pipelines and medical implants. Polypropylene, this is the fourth type of the plastic. Basically, it is a kind of thermoplastic used for lab equipments or auto parts, medical devices, and it has a high moldability as well as strength. The last type of the plastic is polystyrene, is also called as this ABS. It is a tough engineering plastic used in pipes or musical instruments or inhalers, vehicle parts. So, this is about the types of plastics that are being used daily in different sectors. So, what are the impacts or negative effects of the single use plastic? The first and foremost is about the health hazard. Basically, this contains harmful chemicals like BPA or phthalates that can leach into the food, especially when heated or used for storage, leading to the health risk. Second, what is the climate impact of the single use plastic? Basically, the production as well as the disposal of the single use plastic results in release of various greenhouse gases, thus contributing to the climate change. Third is about microplastic contamination. Basically, breakdown of the single use plastics leads to the microplastics entering into the water chain or food chains, leading to the health concerns. Then, what are the impacts of the single use plastics in the marine or wildlife sector? Basically, plastics are ingested by the marine animals, thus causing them injury or death, also entering into the marine food chains. Now, what are the impacts of environmental degradation because of the single use plastics? Basically, the single use plastics takes centuries to decompose, thus polluting the land as well as the water bodies and various ecosystems. Then, what are the economic impact of this particular single use plastic pollution? Tourism decline. Basically, the spread of plastic pollution tarnishes the sanctity of the tourist spot, reducing the visitors' appeal and local revenue. Second is about the waste management burden. Basically, large volumes of plastic overwhelm the waste system, leading to the pollution from the improper disposal of the plastics. Next is about the water and land pollution. Basically, microplastics can pollute water sources. Littered single-use plastics degrade the landscape and pose hazards. So, water pollution is also evident from the single-use plastics. Also, the economic cost. Cleanup as well as the environmental damage caused by the single-use plastics imposes significant cost on the government, local governments as well as the communities. So, these are certain negative effects of the single-use plastics. Now, let us go into the government measures to prevent or to curb the use of single-use plastics. Let us go into the national or union government measures. First of all, nationwide ban since July 2022. It prohibits manufacture, import, sale and use of 19 identified single-use plastic items with low utility and high littering potential. So, this particular union government measure, that is nationwide ban of 19 identified single-use plastic items. Then single-use plastic waste amendment rules, management amendment rules, they have been released in 2021. It bans selected SUPs, increases the plastic bag thickness from 50 to 120 micron in case of single-use plastic. Second, which will increase the cost of increasing the thickness from 50 to 120 microns will increase the cost of production, thus reducing the use. Second, 2022, it promotes circular economy and eco-friendly alternatives for the single-use plastics. Then what is then next is CPCB action plan. It has been issued to the state pollution control boards and pollution control committees for effective enforcement of the ban on the single-use plastics. Now, let us go into certain state government level initiatives to curb the single-use plastics. First of all, start with the Himachal Pradesh. It enforced a complete ban on the production, distribution, storage and use of plastic carry bags under Non-Biodegradable Garbage Control Act 1998. So, Himachal Pradesh is one of the few states who had put a complete ban on the production of plastic carry bags. Second is Tamil Nadu, Meenadam Manjappai scheme. Basically, this is a kind of public awareness campaign encouraging the return to the traditional yellow cloth bags that have been used to replace the plastic carry bags. Then Kerala initiative, government offices adopt reusable like ink pens, steel cutlery, glass bottles, replacing the single use plastics in the official settings. So, this is the government initiative of Kerala. Now, let us go into the international initiatives or conventions that are regarding the single use plastics or plastics in general. So, first is regarding the UN Global Plastics Treaty, which is still in progress. It aims to create a legally binding agreement by 2024 to end the plastic pollution across the entire plastic life cycle. So, this is UN Global Plastics Treaty, which is still in the making. Second is Basel Convention 2019 amendment. It regulates the transboundary movement of plastic waste and it requires prior informed consent for its export. Then United Nations Environmental Authority resolutions of 2019 and 2022 called for reducing the single use plastics, led to the mandate for global treaty on the plastic pollution, which is still in the making process. Then G20 Osaka Blue Ocean Vision 2019, it seeks to eliminate additional plastic leakages in the oceans by 2050 through voluntary cooperation. So, it just aims to prevent the additional plastic leakage into the oceans. So, the next is MARPOL Annex 5, it prohibits dumping of the plastics including the single use plastics from ships into the marine environment. Now, next is European Union Single Use Plastic Directive in 2019, it bans specific single use plastics items such as cutlery, straws or cotton buds. So, these are the international initiatives or steps for the single use plastic ban. Now, let us go into the practice question. Basically, why there is a great concern about the microbeads that are released into environment? Please solve this MCQ. Let us go into the next. Cotton Corporation of India buys 100 lakh bales of the cotton at MSP. So, the backlog, it is in the backlog of purchase of huge cotton by the Cotton Corporation of India. It is important or relevant from GS3 perspective, that is transport and marketing of agricultural produce and issues and related constraints. So, let us go into this. Basically, what is the context of this news? Basically, purchased close to 100 lakh bales of the cotton at minimum support price from the farmers in current cotton season and has sold almost 35 lakh bales in the market. So, the outgo for the Cotton Corporation of India for this year for the MSP operations was 37,500 crore with an increase in the 8% in the MSP in next cotton season. The outgo will be higher if the CCI buys more cotton from the farmers at the MSP. So, let us go into the basics of the cotton crop. So, first of all, various species of the cotton crops or various varieties of the cotton crops in India. The first important thing in this regard is India is the only country in the world that grows all the 4 species of the cotton. These species are Gossypium arboreum and Gossypium herbaceum, Asian cotton, then Gossypium barbadens, which is also called as the Egyptian cotton, and next is Gossypium hirsutum, it is a American upland cotton. This Gossypium hirsutum represents 90% of the hybrid cotton production in India, and all the current BT cotton hybrids are Gossypium hirsutum in India. So, what are the types of cotton? Basically, in the context of India, there are various types of cotton that are based on fiber length or strength and texture. Basically, the first one is called as the long staple cotton. It has the longest fibers ranging from 24 to 27 millimeter. These fibers are fine, lustrous and ideal for manufacturing high quality textiles. It has the highest market price and accounts for nearly 50% of the India's cotton output. What are the major producing state in this long staple cotton? Punjab, Haryana, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, MP, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh. Next is medium staple cotton. Basically, it has a fiber length ranging between 20 to 24 millimeter. It accounts for 44% of the India's cotton output. Which are the major producing states? Rajasthan, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka and Maharashtra. So, this is about the medium staple cotton. The third is about the short staple cotton. It has fibers length which is less than 20 millimeter. It is used to make the coarse fabrics. It accounts for nearly 6% of the India's cotton output. Major producing states are UP, Andhra Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana and Punjab. So, what are the necessary climatic conditions for the growth of the cotton crop? The first, let us start with the climate. Basically, this cotton is chiefly grown in the tropical as well as the subtropical climate areas. In case of temperature, it requires uniformly high temperatures like 21 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. When the temperature is below 20 degrees Celsius, the growth of the cotton crop is retarded slowly. Frost is the biggest enemy of the cotton plant. So, in case of cotton, there requires at least 210 frost-free days in the year. In the rainfall requirement, it grows well within the average annual rainfall of 50 to 100 centimeters. Abundant rainfall at the initial stage. Basically, in case of cotton crop, abundant rainfall at the initial stage supports the seed germination of the cotton, while the warm, sunny and dry conditions during the ripening phase are ideal for the healthy crop. Moist weather at ripening can lead to the pest attack or pest infestations and should be avoided. So, moist weather at the ripening condition is not advisable in case of the growth cotton crop. The next is about the soil conditions needed for the cotton crop. Basically, deep black soils, which is also called as the regur or lava soils, are found in Deccan Plateau, and these are most suitable or ideal for the cultivation of cotton. They can be found in Deccan Plateau, Malwa Plateau and Gujarat. Cotton also thrives in the alluvial soils of the Satluj Ganga plain as well as the red and laterite soils of the peninsular region. So, it has ability to come in different types of soil. The crop depletes soil fertility rapidly. Then next is about the crop season of the cotton. Basically, cotton is a kharif crop that takes approximately 6 to 8 months to mature. Second, sowing and harvesting of the periods vary across the different regions of the country. It is commonly cultivated alongside the kharif crops such as maize, jawar, ragi, sesamum and castor. Distribution of cotton. Basically, in India, majority of cotton production comes from 9 major cotton growing states, which are grouped into 3 groups or 3 zones. The first is about the northern zone, which consists of Punjab, Haryana and Rajasthan. Second is the central zone, which consists of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh. Third is the southern zone, which consists of Telangana, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. Apart from above, the cotton is also grown in Odisha and Tamil Nadu. So, these are the areas producing cotton in India. Cotton producing areas of the India. This is the production graph showing the production trends of cotton in India. India has 38% of the global cotton acreage and 23% of the global production of the cotton. See, you can see the graph in the production trends, which is upward as well as downward, thus which represents the lack of consistency in the production or growth in the production. Now, what are the state-wise production trends? This table indicates the step-wise production trends. In case of 2024-25, we can see the Odisha is the largest producer of the cotton in India. This is the trend showing the global cotton production and the consumption, in which we can say that China is the largest producing country in 2024-25 and followed by the India, which is the second largest producing country. So, let us go into the economic aspect of the cotton crop, that is cotton trade. Basically, in case of India, the import of the cotton saw 133% jump in May 2025 as compared with last May 2024, and this 133% increase in the value, 131 increase in the value in April May compared to the same period last year. So, because of the decline in production, there has been increase in the value of the import as well as the import amount. So let us go into the export aspect of the cotton. We can see in as compared to the financial year 2024-25, there is increase in the total exports of cotton in 2025-26. When it comes to the country wise cotton exports from India in financial year 2025-26, we can see that USA is the largest importer, followed by Germany of Indian cotton, then followed by Bangladesh. So these three countries are largest importers of the cotton from India. Now let us go into the BT cotton, which remains in news frequently. So basically, what is this BT cotton? It is genetically modified version of the BT cotton crop, and it acquired by insertion of one or more genes from common soil bacterium called as the Bacillus thuringiensis. Basically, these genes, why we incorporate these particular genes? These genes encode for the production of insecticidal proteins. So these genes produce insecticidal proteins that can be used for killing of the pest. Various subspecies of the Bacillus thuringiensis occur naturally in the soils, and these particular Bacillus thuringiensis are toxic to the certain insect species such as, but at the same time harmless to other living organisms. This Bacillus thuringiensis has been widely used as a biological insecticide to protect the stored grains as well as the cotton crops. The BT cotton is currently only genetically modified crop that has been approved for commercial cultivation. So in case of India, BT cotton is currently the only genetically modified crop that has been approved for commercial cultivation. So what are the key initiatives of the central government or union government for support of the cotton production? The first is and foremost is about the procurement of the cotton at MSP. Basically, MSP now set at 8,110 per quintal for long staple and 7,710 rupees per quintal for medium staple cotton, offering farmers margin of around 2,900 per quintal. Through some exports call for further hike. Next is about the National Cotton Productivity Mission. Basically, this is a 5-year mission launched in the Union Budget of 2025-26. And what is the purpose? It aims to boost yields. Second, especially of extra long staple cotton through use of advanced technology, high density planting and mechanization. So this National Copper Productivity Mission aimed at increasing yields of the cotton through, especially of the extra long staple cotton, through advanced technology and high density planting and mechanization. It also involves a component of research and development funding for high yield, climate resilient seed varieties and mechanized harvesting of the cotton. So third initiative is regarding the technology mission on cotton part 2. Basically, this aims to significantly boost cotton yield and production. Especially extra long staple varieties. Second, it will focus on this technology mission on cotton will focus on R&D in areas like new cotton varieties, integrated pest management, efficient irrigation techniques. So this particular technology mission on cotton will focus on research and development in areas like new cotton varieties development, integrated pest management in case of cotton crop and efficient irrigation techniques. Kasturi cotton. Kasturi cotton basically is an initiative of Government of India, textile trade bodies, industry to create a premium value for cotton growth in India as per the benchmarked specification. So it's kind of commercial initiative with reference to the cotton in India. So let's go into the practice question of this cotton crop. The crop is subtropical in nature, hard frost is injurious to it and it requires at least 210 frost free days and 15 to 100 centimeters of rainfall for its growth. A light well drained soil capable of retaining moisture is ideally suited for the cultivation of the crop. Please solve this question or MCQ. Now let us go into this particular article, warmer nights and more humidity. The backdrop of this particular article comes in the context of report by CEEW, that is Council on the Energy, Environment and Water, which suggests that 57% of the Indian districts hosting more than 76% population of India are at high or very high risk from the extreme heat. So, this is the important from GS3 disaster management perspective. So, what let us go into the news, detail of the news. As per the findings of Council on Energy, Environment and Water, and there is one report released by this particular institution which suggests that how extreme heat is impacting India, assessing the district level risk. So, this particular report assesses the district level heat risk. So, what it suggests basically, this suggests that 57% of the Indian districts where its 76% of population lives are at high or very high risk of heat risk. Okay. Next is about, it includes, it notices vulnerable states like Delhi, Maharashtra, Goa, Kerala, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. So, these are certain few states which are at high risk of the heat risk. So, what is heat risk? Heat risk basically, we need to understand different concepts related to heat. The first is regarding the heat waves. Basically, heat wave refer to the periods of abnormally high temperature over a specific region. Heat waves refers to the periods of abnormally high temperatures in the specific region. Then heat stress, basically heat stress refers to the physical strain from the body's inability to cool itself, leading to the discomfort and potentially fatal condition. So, this is about heat stress. Now, let us go into the heat risk. Basically, heat risk refer to the probability of experiencing heat related illness or death due to exposure to the extreme temperatures. Basically, this heat risk depends on following factors. First of all, intensity of the heat that is being there in the particular region, then degree of exposure of the particular person to the particular heat risk in the prevalent in the area, and third, underlying vulnerabilities of the affected communities, like some people have higher morbidity or higher level of communicable diseases like hypertension or BP. So, this is about the heat risk. This particular CEEW has developed a heat risk index using 35 indicators and assessment of over 734 districts in India, and this particular risk index has following components like frequency of very hot days, population density of the particular region, land use changes seen in the recent past, then share of the people with disabilities in that area. So, these are certain parameters that have been adopted by the CEEW for heat risk index calculation. Key drivers of the risk. The first is, so what are the reasons for increase in this heat risk in recent times? The first and foremost is about increase in the warm nights. As per this report, from 2012 to 2022, 70% districts saw at least 5 more hot nights per summer, Then second thing, basically as per this report, nighttime heat hampers the recovery from daytime heat and thus worsens the diseases like diabetes and hypertension. Second, rising humidity in North India. As per this report, relative humidity of the northern Indian plains rose from 30 to 40% to the 40 to 50% in the Indo-Gangetic plains. Basically, this increase in the humidity or relative humidity leads to it makes sweating ineffective, thus increases the heat stress and related illnesses. Third is regarding the urbanization and population density. Basically, it suggests that mega cities like Delhi and Mumbai experiencing high exposure due to the concrete structure and retaining heat. Second, it suggests that tier 2 or tier 3 cities like Pune or Gurugram, they are rapidly urbanizing and they are also at the increased risk of heat risk. Then vulnerable groups, basically elderly peoples or peoples like peoples with pre-existing illnesses or economically weaker community have a high risk of heat risk phenomenon. Then what is the significance of the finding? Basically, as per this report, 2023 was the warmest year on the record globally as well as in India, and basically in last 10 to 15 years, India has been experiencing longest heat wave since 2010, in which more than 44,000 heat stroke cases have been reported. Then warming trends likely to intensify in coming years, resulting into the increased health as well as the economic burdens on the economy. Then what are the other significance of the findings? Next is about heat action plans. As per this report, heat action plans for different states or different cities exist, but they are largely inadequate. These heat action plans lack long term strategies as per this report. Second, 95% of the heat actions plans do not have detailed risk and vulnerability assessment in place. Third, implementation is very poor, even where the heat action plans exist. So, its implementation is poor. So, what are the likely consequences of this heat risk or absence of effective heat action plans? Poor planning lead to the more deaths and illnesses from frequent and severe heat waves. So, more deaths because of the as well as the more illnesses because of this particular heat wave, heat risk will increase in India. So, what is the way forward? Basically, strengthening and expanding the heat action plans all over India. Ahmedabad model can be replicated, which is quite successful in tackling the heat waves. Second is prioritizing vulnerability mapping and risk based resource allocation in case of India. Third is investing in urban cooling strategies, better public awareness and resilient infrastructure that can be utilized to tackle the threat of heat risk in India. Now, let us go into the practice question. India faces rising heat risk with over half of its districts vulnerable to the extreme temperature. Examine the factors contributing to this risk and critically assess the gaps in the current heat action plans. Also suggest measures to strengthen the heat resilience. Please write the answer of this question. This is all for today. Thank you.